Hi, I'm Jeff from CNC Preferred. I want to explain the IJK coordinates of CNC programming. The I, J, and K are simple coordinates for where the center of the arc is located. There are three ways to locate the I, J, and K coordinates: absolute, incremental, and radius. I is reference for x-axis, J is reference for y-axis, and K is reference for the z-axis. First, let's look at the I and J coordinates in an absolute location. We will ignore most other commands for illustration purposes only. I will add some G codes also. In absolute location, G90. Example 1. 0 is located at the lower left corner. The grid lines are every 1/8 of an inch. For the cut, we will consider that we have a cutter that is only 0.001 inch width. So we will cut on the line to make it simpler to explain. So we rapid transit to the X2, Y1 and begin to cut. We will cut to X2, Y5.5, and then we will have an arc in the clockwise direction. The arc will end at the X3.5, Y7 position. Now we need to add the I and J. I and J is simply the location for the center point of the coordinates for the center of the arc. So we have to do line code as X 3.5, Y 7, I 3.5, J 5.5 to show where the arc ends and the center point of the arc. Example 2. We will cut from X2, Y5 to X2, Y2 at the start of the arc. We will cut to the end of the arc at X 3.5, Y 0.5 with I 3.5, J 2.0 at the center of the arc. This is fairly straightforward. Now that you understand that, we will need to add other commands. G00 is for rapid linear transit. G1 is for a feed rate at a specified rate designated with an F with a number. Next, for the arcs and circles, G02 is for clockwise cuts for arcs, and G03 is for counterclockwise cuts of arcs. Back to example 1. Our cut was from X2, Y1 to the start of the arc at X2, Y5.5. Since the arc is in the clockwise direction and ends at X3.5, Y7, we need to write the block for the endpoint of the arc as G02, X3.5, Y7.0, I 3.5, J 5.5. Example 2 would be G0, X2, Y5 to start the cut. Cut to the start of the arc as G1, X2, Y2, and the next block is to cut the arc in a counterclockwise direction as G03, X 3.5, Y 0.5, I 3.5, J 2. We've been using the X and Y plane, so we use I and J. For using XZ plane, we use I and K. For the YZ plane, we will use J and K. In the increment block, we use G91. Figure 1, we will go to G01, X 2.0, Y 1.0 to begin the cut, and cut to X2, Y 5.5. The arc will be clockwise, so we will write the block as G02, X 3.5, Y 7. The difference is where the radius is in relationship to the start of the arc. I is in relationship to X, J is in relationship to Y. So I is 1.5 to the positive direction, and J is on the same plane as Y. So that then would be I 1.5 and J 0. The block will be written as G02, X 3.5, Y 7, I 1.5, J 0. In figure 3, we will start the cut at X2, Y 0.5 and cut to X 6.5, Y 0.5. This is the start of the arc in a counterclockwise direction. The end of the arc is at X8, Y2. I and J need to be located. I is on the same plane as X, so I would be 0, and J is 1.5 inches on the positive side of Y. The line code would be G03, X8, Y2 for the end of the arc, and for I, 0, and J, 1.5. The line would be G03, X8, Y2, I0, J 1.5. Figure 4 shows a little different example due to the relationship of the center of the arc to the start of the arc. The start of the cut is X 6.5, Y1, and cut to 6.5 on the X, Y 5.5. The end of the arc will be X5, Y7. The center of the arc, this time in relationship to the start of the arc, will be I minus 1.5 and J 0. Again, the IJ coordinate is in relationship to the start of the arc. Since the arc center will be 1.5 inches on the minus direction of the start of the arc, then we would need a minus number for I. This line for the arc will show G03 for counterclockwise arc, X5, Y7 for the end of the cut of the arc, and I minus 1.5 J0 for the center of the arc in relationship to the start of the arc. The full line would be G03, X5, Y7, I minus 1.5, J0. Now you can add other required lines and codes for the cuts. G00 is for rapid transit, G01 for a specified feed speed based on the material and the RPM. For steel, the feed can be F1.4 for 1.4 inches per minute feed speed. For figure 4, we will start at X0, Y0. The line set will be, not including all of the lines, X0, Y0, the home position, G0, X6.5, Y1 for rapid transit to the start of the cut, G01, X6.5, Y5.5 linear cut to the start of the arc, G03, X5, Y7, I minus 1.5, J0. It's to cut the arc from X5, Y7 with I at minus 1.5 from the start of the arc and J at the same plane at the start of the arc. Using the radius method, starting at X0, Y0, it will show us as this: G0, X 6.5, Y1 for rapid transit to begin the cut, G01, X 6.5, Y 5.5 for the end of the line of cut and the start of the arc, G03, X5, Y7, R 1.5 for the end of the arc with a 1.5 inch for the radius, G01, X2, Y7 to finish the cut. Again, this presentation is to focus mostly on the I and J code. Other codes will be explained in other videos. If I can get financial support, I can make more videos. This simple video took almost 4 full days to prepare for the graphics and the narrative. I will make a video describing stepper motors and likely to describe controllers and drivers. And I have more than 40 hours invested into making that video already, with more time needed for recording the narrative and making the rest of the graphics needed, then assemble it all into an instructional video. If you do not like how I present this, let me know. If you like how I presented this video, let all your friends know. Let me know what else you would like to see in instructional videos. Thanks for watching.